So
Did they
that's
not?
me.
Did these angry students not picket your ivory tower like we saw at the end of the Frankenstein movie?
No, they did not come at me with pitchforks
Pitchforks.
and torches. They came with me with garlands, flowered garlands and gifts. The utmost gratitude, because I just laid it out for them. So this is the world you're going to be entering into, right? This is how it really works. You scored all very, very nicely on your exams. You got into the university. Okay. But they didn't tell you the other part, the hidden agenda. And I told them years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I said, don't ever go to any after parties. I use that very term. And they'd laugh at it. Oh, what's an after party? And I said,
You get
well, yeah. So, yeah, I got in trouble for that. They're saying, oh, he's being a sexist. He's being a racist. He's being a blah, blah, blah. I've been through that and I've done it. And I'm not going to shut up at this point.
good for you. You're getting asked about in Jay-Z's statement why he said red penny. You're not going to get a red penny. What was the significance
That's a
of the
really
red penny?
archaic. That's a archaic term. That's another indication that he did not write that. It should be red cent anyway, not red penny. You know.
And what is it?
This is.
What's the etymology of the red penny?
I think it was part of the currency in the early up until the early 20th century when they were using real copper, which is more reddish. I think that I'm guessing here. American pennies are no longer even real copper. They're not metal because the copper was becoming worth more than the actual coin. So the expression is metaphorically means you're not going to get a single penny from me. That's it. Nothing.
Where did the phrase red cent come from? Not worth a red cent.
Yeah.
Originated in the 1820s.
Oh,
Refers
okay.
to an item or individual being either worthless or useless. Some unscrupulous people would take silver dimes, quarters, half dollars, or dollars and cut a hole of metal out and replace it with an inferior base metal before passing it on. There we go.
Yeah, one of the techniques was to shave the edges of silver when they were made of silver, the coins. That's why the coins have edges on them to detect if they were being shaved and repurposed. So, yeah, I mean, for the guy with that much money, come on, Jay-Z, that's too small of a denomination. Why don't you talk about the big bucks? Why don't you talk about the Benjamins?
Do you think that, like the typos and stuff in that statement, what did they say to you? That it was just hastily done?
I think they were put in there deliberately.
Deliberately,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
psychics became physics.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so.
What the professionals were trying to dilute it to make it seem that Jay-Z had done it.
Yeah, make it more street. You know how these words are repurposed in ghetto language? I can't give you an example off the top of my head. Boys is spelled Boyz, for example. Boys, two men, all that whole cliche. So that's supposedly giving some sort of hip hop edge to his message to the man, which is really a message to himself or his handlers. These are investigators investigating themselves when it comes down to it.
Roxy wants to know, are you concerned for your physical safety?
No, because I'm so old anyway. That's the short answer.
What is your spiritual religious practice, if any?
Non-denominational Protestant. And I like to read religious history. Not so much theology, but I like the historical and social backgrounds of it. So I'll nerd out and read about how the King James Bible was conceived and implemented and put together by these scholars in a really, really short span of time. That excites me for some reason.
Would, would you classify Clive Davis as a ringleader?
No, again, let's use the rhizome analogy. We talk about linear constructs, triangles, circles. That doesn't really do justice to it. There's someone behind him, and it's probably not, I'm not going to give any names, but he's just one of he's probably going to put out to pasture pretty soon, but he's just one of their toadies. A bad one, though.
Pearl
I'm
wants to
horizontal,
know.
thank you.
Pearl wants to know if you know anything about the British UK music industry. Is it as bad? And what about Richard Branson and his island?
Richard Branson had a very close connection, and probably still does, to the UK industry with Virgin Records and then Virgin Airlines. And I read his autobiography, and so I know his origin story. But he does come from a wealthy, posh family, and even though he gives us a different origin story, we can assume that this is an Anglo-American construct here, so far as the music, film, entertainment business, including the banking, that there's a cross-fertilization and exchange in talent, for example, going back across the countries, across the Five Eyes. It's all of the piece.
Based on your research and wisdom, then, who do you think has got the most absurd backstory out of all of these false idols?
You mean the of the musicians?
Yeah.
I think Russell Simmons.
And why?
His name is never mentioned. You notice this? His name should have come up by now. How come it hasn't? His origin story is that he was just an ambitious student at New York University, along with what's that guy? His white counterpart. They were partners, Rick Rubin. So they had their little dorm room business and distribution center, right? I think he had some, let's say, deeper connections than just college. Of course, the colleges are totally mobbed up as well. Right? We're talking about a rap and hip hop game, but there's an institution that's much more corrupted than all of it. That's the university.
Anywhere there's big money, you're going to get that.
Oh yeah.
Agent Orange wants to know, can you ask Professor if he's familiar with the Fresh Festivals Tours 1980s East Coast rap artist?
I'll have to plead ignorant to that one. And that doesn't embarrass me. I aged out of that a long time ago. No, I don't. Is there anything I should know about it?
No, we've only got 5 minutes or so left,
Oh,
and
okay.
let's get through as many questions as we can.
All right. The lifestyle parties. These are there's a I don't know if it's a movement, but there's a practice called hot wife. So check that out on your own. Those are what used to be called swing parties or lifestyle parties. And it seems to be pretty prevalent in America, at least.
You're getting asked if you could show the Disney book again.
Oh, yes. The People versus Disneyland. It's an interesting piece of art. It's a rat-like creature in a lawyer's suit. So that kind of says it there.
Is LeBron next, Professor?
I'm not sure. He says a lot of bonehead comments, but I may be mistaken. We'll have to see. But I do think that pro athletes are going to be given more scrutiny now. Because like I told you, the pro sports is next to fall, to be appropriated.
What do you think of the film Get Out? Is there any truth in it?
Excellent. And yes, there is a lot of truth to it. That's required viewing. Yeah, it's about the parting out of the black male body in specific? That's a really good question. That could take 1 hour to unpack. Get Out. You can get that one.
Ravine is asking, what about the minors involved? Where are they getting them?
Well, it's called S trafficking. In fact, I would like to replace the word immigration with the phrase human trafficking. That's where they're coming from.
We're calling it
And
transportation.
transportation.
Yeah.
Okay. International long distance transportation. And by the way, the U.S. federal government used to prosecute men, especially black men with white women, on that basis. Transporting a white woman across lines is called the Mann Act. And the rock and roll icon Chuck Berry went away for a few years for doing that. So we've come a long way in a perverse fashion from those days when you can be put away for that kind of crime. Now it seems to be part of the agreement and within the deep state.
Pearl's asking, do you think Drake will continue with his lawsuit, and what do you think will happen if he wins? Could he win?
I don't know about the particulars of Drake's lawsuits. All I know is that he's Canadian. So maybe there's a whole black Canadian history that we need to look at. Oh, Graham Stedman? I'm reading
for his boyfriend.
Yeah,
what's the deal there?
I didn't think he was still in the picture. He's a beard from way back when. Yeah. He's the former cop, I think Chicago cop, and she took care of him, so to speak. But when they need to appear somewhere, she'd ought to bring Graham Stedman. Very handsome, good-looking guy. Never said anything. But, he had a presence. That's him. Yeah, part of her. Exactly. I'm sure she sat on him all the time, but amongst other people.
When is the Super Bowl? Are they buying time to see what happens next?
I don't know because I've been boycotting the Super Bowl for the last 40 years or so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because it's filled with nothing but criminals who run the organization and criminals who play the game. There's a good book called Pros and Cons. Pros as professional football players, and cons, except as in convict. Pros and cons. People should take a look at that. And that's one of the first serious looks about pro football being full of people who have less than stellar citizenship records.
Do you think Beyonce dabbles in the dark arts?
That I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. I think a lot of that is distraction too. I am interested in reading about the occult and its practitioners. I think hers is more for show than anything, but who knows?
All right, let's see. Terrence Howard said he has the patents on VR. Is this correct? And how do you feel about his theories as it pertains to this?
I took a quick look at his disquisition on reality, if you want to call it. He got some play for a while, then I quickly lost interest. Just very quickly, I don't think he has anything to say. There's a lot of these that are going to pop up, and they're going to be black too, to make black people look paranoid and full of it. Is he brilliant, the genius that people are saying? I don't think so.
Does Kanye run in different circles? He's managed to stay out of this so far. Same. So I would ask that about 50 Cent as well.
They're sort of, if you look at a Venn diagram, they're sort of like button up against each other. But I don't know if they're in the inner circle. 50 Cent is, for me, from the beginning, from the moment I became aware of him back in the 90s, always to me, stood up to me as a really perceptive and honest person, honest about who he is, his art, and I just hope that he could stay on that track, and apparently he has. So it can happen. You do not have to, so to speak, sell your soul to the devil in order to make it as a popular artist and survive and do quite well. Kanye, I don't know. I think we have to remove him from this category of the crazy black man. That's also part of the crazy R man that I alluded to at the top of this discussion. There's also one that of being crazy, crazy ass black man. I think we're gonna have to get beyond that mythos as well and take a deep listen to what he's trying to tell us. That's what really matters, right? And oftentimes a crazy man or a woman is the sanest person there at the party. That could be his case. I suspect that it is.
Will Beyonce get the best album Grammy?
I've been boycotting the Grammys since you heard that already. You've heard that phrase. See, I have my own personal boycott, and I think we can exercise that ourselves.
Can we
Yeah.
get the professor
Oh,
to say Kamala Harris his name before you
yes.
let him go?
Do you want it Oriental style, or do you want it Ebonics, or do you want it
Me or
RP?
me? You asking me or the viewer?
Anybody. I'll give you
Well, if
the
you're asking me,
received
I would
pronunciation.
say all three. I would say.
Okay, RP would be Kamala Harris. Ebonics would be Kamala Harris. And the Orient, because you know she when she went in front of a group of Asians campaigning, she said, "Oh, hi, I'm Kamala Harris. I'm so glad to be here with you today." So it would be Kamala Harris. Because if you talk to a Chinese people, it seems like they're yelling at you. Ah, Kamala Harris.
on that note, folks, we have run out of time because Ron's shows are beginning. Ron's got Samson coming on, who was doorstepped by the investigators asking about Diddy. That's his next show. And then he's got Ronnie Bo coming on, who was in prison with, what's his name? R. Kelly. And R. Kelly
Oh,
told him about the club and how the club had ejected him and all that stuff, and about Jay-Z. And Professor Hamamoto, always a delight. What can people look forward to on your channel this coming week, as well as Disney?
well, we're doing the Disneyland author this in a couple of days on Sunday, and I hope to be for 2025 bringing more authors in who have real world experience to share their insights with the audience on the Professor Hamamoto channel, right? And I'll be joining you in the next part of the broadcast. I want to see what's going on out there.
Which broadcast?
Yours, the one that follows this.
Oh, you mean you're watching it, or you're coming on the screen?
No, no, no. I'm gonna jump off here and watch as a spectator.
I can arrange for you to go on the screen if you
No,
like.
no, no. That's okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
had my
And
moment of glory.
I would love to reciprocate and come on your channel sometime as well. And you and your viewers can bombard me with hilarious questions.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much, Shaun. It's been a pleasure
Oh,
being
thank
with
you.
you today.
Always a great delight. You've made my day. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks, if you are staying tuned for what's coming next, I will give you the rundown. Let's have a quick look. And in fact, I'll give you the weekend's rundown. So Ron is live right now with his show, and it is Friendly Fire. It was with Samson last week. I think Samson's coming back this week. It was doorstepped. And then we've got Ronnie Bo on the karma of Jay-Z. Tomorrow we have got Beverly at 7, Lionel at 9 UK, and possibly a Diddy survivor in the afternoon UK time who's not told his story before. Sunday we've got Julia Wandel part 11. She has met the McCanns, and she's also had this huge response from the cops fobbing her off. It's terrible, and you'll be outraged when you hear us go over it. And then we've got big homie CC coming on in the evening. And then we've got Jay Dyer, who wrote Esoteric Hollywood, coming on Monday. And we're going to have tons more added as we go. So thanks for tuning in, folks. And Ron,